the combining two passions in one. I'm a numbers nerd and a tech nerd, and then the sport it all lands in one. And then you guys being so approachable is a huge thing for me, and it always has been a huge thing for me. I mean, you're just, I know Tony Blackall and I have a relationship, and that dude is like, I'm working right now,
Yeah.
So there's some guys that have one hand on the time clock and the other hand on the throttle. It's so humbling to know that if I had the gumption to do this and the talent and the wherewithal to do it, I could, so that was always relatable for me as I became older. But as a kid, my dad would ask me middle of the year what I want for Christmas. And every year I told him, I was like, just make sure we have tickets to Mid-Ohio, man. Let's get out there on Thursday night, get the camper set up, and make sure that everybody's fed and have a blast. And we were the hooligans. I mean, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when Dustin Dominguez doubled up at Mid-Ohio. I jumped the fence and handed him a flag. And I mean, I'm pretty sure there was somebody from Mid-Ohio looking for me that day, wanting to talk to me.
Especially that track, they were kind of as wild as they let people get. They were definitely pretty strict as well.
On the safety, yeah. And that was something, like I jumped out there in a mask, and as soon as I jumped back in the fence, I changed my shirt, I pulled the mask off, and I was like gone out of that area so that nobody could find me or snitch on me, so. But yeah, so Dad and I had a great relationship at Mid-Ohio, and it was always something that, it was always that Christmas in the summer, Christmas in July for us, really. It was you guys coming to town and getting to watch the races. And, I mean, you guys mentioned it, even someone who's lived as much time as they've spent at the track as you guys, it's like that first pass where you can smell the race gas. You see a lot of those guys turn around and go, all right, we're here. And it's something that locks in your brain. And that's a great analogy for a lot of people, because, that reminds me of some of the most beautiful days in my mind's eye, so
yeah.
It was something that my dad and I shared, and unfortunately my dad passed away a handful of years ago. So it's something that when I go to the track, I'm like, all right, there's a moment of calm, of peace. He and I have a little conversation, and then we move on, and I'm like, let's do it. We're here to cook. We're here to party. We're here to have a good time and watch you guys. So I guess that's where I'm from, just so you can kind of understand the lunacy of who I am when you see me acting a fool, or all the signs and stuff like that. All those signs came from Mid-Ohio. We used to jump the fence on Sundays and yank down all the old banners, and then I spray painted messages, what I wanted to say on the back of them. Nobody cares. Everybody in Mansfield's got 15 10-foot long Dunlop banners, so I spray painted when I went on the back. So, and I learned how to ham it up in front of the camera when it came to those guys. So that was the fun part. Sean Bice has basically told me that they'll never go back to Mid-Ohio, and it breaks my heart. So,
yeah, it's a little disappointing, but that's just because the fans at Mid-Ohio were just crazy. I mean, they used to be so packed there. It used to take so long to get out. You've seen the same people every single year. So, I know that Moto America would love to go back. I mean, that's no doubt about it. It's not part of Moto America not wanting to go back. They just have to want to make a couple changes. And, if they would make those changes, we'd go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that they make enough money off the NASCAR and the IndyCar to not worry about the two-wheel boys when they come in and play. So but there's that. So I led off, or I tapered down my intro that pre-recorded with, my assumption is that you consider Mid-Ohio your home track. I don't know of any other track that we raced at, that you guys raced at that was any closer. Can you break that down?
Maybe Atlanta. Actually, Mid-Ohio might have been a little bit closer than Road Atlanta, but growing up, we could club race at Road Atlanta. So I kind of considered that a home track because that was the one that I went to the most.
Right on.
They club races throughout the year. So growing up as an amateur, I get to race at Road Atlanta a few times, but really Mid Ohio only had the pro races. But Mid Ohio was definitely one that was a little bit closer. A lot of friends and family could come to that one. Yeah, it was definitely a special one for sure.
And it seemed like something. Mid Ohio was a favorite for some of the dirt track guys because there were so many changes in surfaces and such a technical, such a demand for technical bike handling that a lot of the dirt track guys, it didn't bother them. So they went out there and had a blast on it and, let it get a little squirrely on them. And some of the guys that were pavement princesses were, raising a little hell about, how bumpy the track was or how many pavement transitions there were and stuff like that. So I've heard that for many years.
The Steeler, the patches was a thing that, it caught a lot of guys off guard. But I think, like you said, riding, dirt bikes or flat track your whole life, you're kind of used to some obstacles in a corner in a way, because some corners would be bumpier than others, or, some corners might have a blue groove considering, some of the other corners. So I think for us, it didn't really bother us that much because we were kind of used to the track being a little bit different in spots.
Right on. All right, changing gears. You appreciate, and I guess you consider Road Atlanta more of your home track because you got to spend a little bit more time there. Something that I've seen, with a lot of the guys from Owensboro, we've all seen how hard you guys train, but now that you're retired and you have a little bit more free time on your hands, what's your normal work week look like? You selling cars for Earl, or after you're feeding all the animals and stuff?
Oh, well, I do take care of a lot of the animals, but I do some schools here and there, and then also with the announcing. And right now I'm really starting to kind of figure out what's next. I took a few years to kind of do what I want, get to do a lot of fishing, hunting, make up for, when I was racing, I didn't really have a lot of time for some of the other stuff as much as I would like. So now, I get to, do a lot of that, but now I'm kind of ready to start finding, what's next. And luckily for me, I'm in a position where I'm not in a hurry. So I can find something that I like, that I have a passion for, that I wake up and, I'm excited to get to it. That was the cool thing about the announcing was it was something different, something I had to learn about. And, gives me something to look forward to continue to get better at it and spend a lot of time, with family and stuff that, when I raced, I spent the winters in California and stuff like that, getting ready for the season. So now, just been around family more and, my parents are getting a little bit older, so able to, do more things for them that if needed.
Right on. Well, by the looks of things, you seem to be dang close to race shape. You guys went on vacation, and we had a couple of surf short shots where, you're ripped, man. Looks like you're ready to go. Looks like you're ready to go racing tomorrow. Somebody called you and said they had a bike. Would you go?
No, I'm not in good shape at all. The first year I retired, I still bicycled with the boys and rode here and there and was in pretty good shape. But 2 years ago, this October, we came home from a family trip that we go to every year in Florida. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a couple of weeks off my bicycle. And that couple of weeks turned into a couple of years that I haven't said. So a lot of it is too that, I'm kind of a bulky guy and, I worked out quite a bit. Well, now what I've lost is just all my muscle, wow. Just because my body's kind of a natural, big dude. And even though I wasn't doing like heavy weights and, trying to bulk up, I think why I look so skinny now is because I've lost all my muscles. So, eventually now, the other stuff is starting to show, the pants are starting to get tighter. The shirt, do this number a little bit when I put my shirts on. So, I'm going the wrong way if I don't get a hold of it pretty soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know I've been teasing you about this for over a year. I mean, I want that answer to be yeah, man. And I mean, I can talk to a Harley Davidson dealership down the road from me, and they can have you a bagger put together by Daytona if you need to.
But the baggers seemed like a lot of fun until I seen them guys ride, and then it was like, oh my god, these dudes are ripping. I mean, it's unbelievable how fast these guys are going on the baggers, and being able to see it up close at some of the races this year. I mean, I was blown away. Their lap times, how fast they're going, and they're gonna just keep pushing each other. They keep upping the bar with the bikes, and so I don't know. I need more of a class where participation class, I guess you would say. So you didn't have to, I've kind of lost that the nerve, I guess you would say.
Right, I hear you. So you and Dale Quarterly need to just go out and rip wheelies on all the old stuff.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Right on. Well, you kind of answered my next question. I know a lot of the OWB homies, train on the bicycle and the dirt bike. You got right down in your neighborhood. You're looking at JD, Hayden Gillum, McFadden's and down around your way too. Yeah.
He's
they're all still racing. You mean telling me you're not out there on the track mixing it up with them anymore?
No, JD calls me, or he did call me all the time, but he got tired of my excuses, so he gave up on the I can't make it. So he not really get the text anymore. But I know he would love for me to get back into it, and I definitely need to just to do stuff. You know what I mean? Not to be in shape to go racing, but those guys still. Nick McFadden now it's kind of. I know he's looking for something next year, but if not, he's kind of got a plan where he's flipping houses now, and so he's not out there as much. But JD's a grinder, man. There's nobody on two wheels that puts in more time than him. And Jake was this past year had a great year, kind of show what he can do, and I know he's wanting to make a step next season too. I know he's working on some stuff. So there's still some guys around here. If I wanted to bicycle or get in shape, it's not me that's the problem. It is me that's a problem. It's not the lack of people to do it with.
Sure, I hear you. You're just a year older than me, and I know that a lot of my younger friends are, come on, man, let's go. Let's load up the truck, and I got stuff going on. I want to. I got this new boat. I want to go fishing. I got the moto that I need to work on a little bit. I'm married now. We got a house. We got all this jazz. I mean, there's a lot more that you got going on as you get older, and I don't have as much time to go play, I guess.
And now once you get older too, you get more sore. So it's like, man, do I want to spend the next 2-3 days, not able to get out of bed because I let myself so far out of shape?
Yeah, I hear you. And I discombobulated my ankle last year, so I'm learning the throes of arthritis right now. It's just a killer. You wake up and you feel like you're 60. I'm like, damn. And I can't imagine you got more banged up than I did. You worked getting banged up. I didn't. I just screwed up one jump one time. So I know. I hear you. Well, next question is we always know, and we've always seen, the way your old man stayed nervous at the track with you guys and his infamous, I think it was 3 or 4 stopwatches at the top of that clipboard he had, depending on where you were, I guess, if it was a MotoGP clipboard or if it was just the at-home clipboard. But if we take a look at Earl's timesheets, who's holding down the lap record at your little lima bean track you guys got out there?
I don't know. It depends. I know Nicky had quite a few of them, and every time somebody got pretty close to him, he could figure out a way to lower it. Yeah. He would have, he had 6 of them in this thing, you know what I mean? And I don't know how he does it. I mean, it's like a hidden talent, I guess, because he was never off. And if you would argue with him that you thought he was a little bit off, you better have some pretty good proof because he would back it up. So I would say we haven't rode in a while, but Nicky probably has the most, and every time somebody would take one while he was gone, as soon as he got back, he wasn't going to bed till,
that lap
it
time
had
dropped.
9 back on the top.
So he was good at dangling the carrot and just keeping you guys good at chasing something, huh?
Yeah, and he was so competitive where I remember one time my dad tells this story all the time. Nicky was headed to a school dance and Tommy just broke his track record that he had. It was when we were younger. And he almost missed the school dance and his date because he was still out in the field trying to get the track record back.
He's going to lose relationships over that track record. It's an unofficial track record. Does that clipboard still hang up somewhere?
We have a paper. Well, we still have the clipboard, but we had a paper on the door in our garage, and it would have like short track, like ST left, ST right, TT left, TT right, and then the track we had in the field. So we had a paper on the door where if somebody beat it, it got marked out, and the new lap time and who held it got put in there.
So if we had to boil it down, Nicky still holds a lap record at Sunset.
Yeah. We really don't even have the tracks here anymore. So
right. I don't think anybody wants to take his name off the top,
Yeah. On the flat track stuff though, JD's on a 450. JD is
monster.
There ain't much people in the whole U.S. better than him on a 450. So he would be close.
I hear you. Well, it's good. It's good the Sunset Downs got retired, so you can do it all at JD's house, huh?
Right.
He can hold a lap record. So
that's right. He can do the work too to get it going.
Well, there's something for you. Valentino has his moto ranch. You could have the hey, what's Valentino call that thing? You just had it this past weekend.
Oh, I just seen it. It looks nice, doesn't it?
Oh, but I'm sure you pay somebody to keep that monster up. So I didn't get the invite this year, so that's tough. Maybe next year we'll make it over to Italy and see what they're really about.
Just gotta let him know.
Yeah. Hey man, you missed my invite. I'll let it slide. Maybe next year you get me hooked up and give me a motorhome put up there at your farm. Life's always been tougher on the little brother, man. I'm an older brother, but I know how hard I am on my younger brother, and having 2 older brothers has been tough, But when you were growing up and chasing Tommy and Nicky, was there anything, that you were better at than they were, like climbing the tree or getting the girls or, something like that? There had to be something that you hang your hat on and say, I still got you.
I was better on video games than they were, even though we didn't play many video games. But if we did, I wasn't too bad on. I'm not an expert by no means. If I got online, I would get smacked. But compared to those two, I was if we played PlayStation, I would dominate. Right. But yeah, I did
antagonize them.
But you mentioned that, and also it is hard being the younger brother because everybody expects you to be better than them or whatever. And I used to think of it like that, like, man, I got all this pressure. And then I started look at all the doors they've opened for me.
Yeah.
Like all these sponsors and doors, people wouldn't even know who I am if I wasn't, the third man in line. So, it's kind of funny once you look back at it and see that it kind of evened out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing, you're wearing a ride helmets and Alpine stars, and like you look pro. What Dion say? He said,
"Look good, play good."
Yeah, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good, and if you play good, you pay good, right? I guess that's easy, That's a good thing for you, I guess. I have a cousin like that too. He'll take me wherever he goes, and people look at me like, "Why are you here?" Like, I'm the cool kid. So, 2007 was your 2007 was your championship year, man. And I can remember you and the Hacker on those things, like those duochrome, beautiful. I'm going to say this, and there's going to be a couple guys that are going to light up like a Christmas tree. Those beautiful Kawasaki's, those bikes were the jam. That was about the time Monster was coming into the game. But you know, I guess we can call that your heyday. Is there any accomplishment out there that had, you know, fire you up to, like, is there something that one thing that's like, damn it, every day I could walk by that and I want it, and fire up the Rocky music and call it a comeback?
Well, obviously a superbike title. You know, I got runner up quite a few times, and you know it. Yeah, I guess that would be the biggest thing, was the white title. But you know, it's sometimes it bums me out, and it's one of those things now where it's like, be thankful for what you got. You know what I mean? There's millions of people who would love the career that I had, that would give up anything in their life, you know, to have that type of career, 20 years, you know, as professional. And you know, sometimes when you look back, you think of all the stuff that you could have did better. Yeah. But now, I mean, even though I do still think like that, but you know, I try to squash it pretty quick and just be like, man, you had a great career. Be thankful for, you know, what you had. Don't live the rest of your life a little bit bitter because you didn't get a superbike title, and eventually 10 years, that's not even going to matter anyways, really.
Sure. And I mean, there's a question we'll get to later. You know, you guys are eternal optimists. You know, there's always somebody that's going to be better. And I guess if you spend your life getting chased, you know, by the younger dude, eventually you're going to be the older dude.
Yeah.
I get you. I hear you. Wow. You know what? But I was there at Pitt the year you won that superbike race. And, you know, I can remember Ben's championships, and I can remember Bostrom being there, and he was the coolest dude on the planet. But I've never cried at a race. And when you stopped in front of turn 1, 2 right there, man, I was like, whew. It took me a minute. I had to go. I had something in my eye or something back there, but that was one of the most iconic moments in my mind in the past 20 years of motorbike racing. The way you won that, and you know, winning wasn't easy for a lot of people. It isn't easy for a lot of people, and sometimes you can tell you had the struggle. You know, the fans can sit back and say, "Well, he's off somewhere," and then when you pulled that off, you know, you were battling with Tony was your teammate that year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he held your bike. Yeah.
Tony, Cam was in there until he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah. Garrett.
Josh, I don't think Garrett was in there yet.
Wow, that was the year before he came up.
He and Cameron.
Yeah. So winning wasn't easy in that era, man. And you know, when you stopped and did that, I was like, that was a big one for me. You know, so yeah. I guess we can, as someone who watches the sport and doesn't participate in that sport, that win was bigger than remembering what championship you won in my mind. You know, that was an extremely beautiful moment and an extremely meaningful thing. And it was great. It was great to say that I was there, and that was cool. So
yeah,
my wife and I have a picture from that.
Also, I was at that test whenever, you know, he had his accident. So, you know, it's kind of.
You guys were at Pitt, right?
Yeah, we were there testing because we'd never been there before. So Dunlop had, you know, their usual tire test whenever we haven't been to a track. And that was the track that that's where I was at, you know, when I got the phone call. Yeah. So, you know, that Eddie didn't feel good coming into it because, you know, kind of remember the drive home and we knew it was pretty serious right out of the gate. So, and I struggled all weekend, man. That was a big thing. I struggled all weekend. Usually not the top 10 or top 12 to move into the second qualifier, to be honest with you, was usually not something I got done pretty quick.
Sure.
But on Friday, we had to we had a tire for an emergency that we've never used all in every other session. We're like, we had to put this on because we might not make it right out of to the second qualifier. So I struggled all weekend, a little bit better in qualifying, got on pole, but it was just one, lap that I put together. And the race went better, race 2, but just going back to that Friday, man, I was off.
So when you say you have an emergency tire, is that what the everybody up in the commentator's booth would call a qualifier? Is it just super sticky, or what is it?
Oh, it was a lot of guys need that tire for the last 5 or 10 minutes to try to put in a good lap, to get in that second, that second qualifier. I'm really trying not to be arrogant here. I've never needed it, I guess you would say. Like I never needed that extra, that have to use an extra tire for that. I was on a factory bike. I shouldn't need it. I was one of but that day we had to put another one in to try to, find that extra little bit to make it automatically into that second qualifier.
Well, it paid off, man. Paid off.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta, what is it? Lace up your boots or something like that. I think it's come from the Hayden tribe. So here's one, and this is one that I wanted straight from the horse's mouth. You were there when Nicky won his championship in 2006, right? Was that Valencia?
I was.
Valencia? Yeah. So everyone knows that Nick won the 2006 MotoGP championship in Valencia. But is it true that he slept on the hotel room floor that night?
No. But he did wake up the next morning, though. I was with him. He woke up the next morning wanting to go running. I said, dude,
what?
Yeah.
Wearing what?
Wanted to go running.
Ah.
And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? It's like next season is starting today. Then we got up and went running.
I'm sure you guys had a couple bottles of champagne or something like that.
Well, he wasn't a big
partier.
No, I'm not ever, but it wasn't like he woke up throbbing headache and wanted to go running. He woke up feeling better than 98% of the people in Valencia. He wasn't. I don't think he partied at all that night. So he's just that dedicated, man.
Sure. Well, how did Nicky celebrate? If you were there, one of the biggest year of his life, how did he celebrate? How did he put the cherry on the top of that year?
I think by just finally achieving his lifehood dream.
Yeah.
There's been so much pressure to get it done every year. Well, we got to get rid of him because you only get a certain amount of time on a Repsol bike to win a title, and just stuff you hear about all the time. He because it's on websites and stuff. So I think that was just getting it done was the biggest thing. But when he came home, we had a party with family and friends and stuff. So I think he enjoyed that because you make it world champion, you don't really get there by yourself.
Sure.
A lot of buddies that played a part. There's a lot of people that helped us when we were younger, for all of us to be successful and, everything to make it. But I think getting to see all those people and his buddies here at a party we had in town, I think that was kind of the cherry on top. But for him, I think just the biggest thing was getting it done. Sure. When you've worked your whole life, day in, day out, everything you've eaten, everything you wake up every day to achieve something, and then you do it. I think that was good enough for him.
Sure. Well, and you guys have always been super family and friends oriented. That time where everybody's busy humans. Nick says, I'm coming home because I won the championship and we're going to have a throwdown, everybody kind of makes time for that.
Yeah,
I think I can see that from the outside. Well, I'm going to have to quash those rumors, man, because I can't remember where I heard it from.
no, he sleep on the floor, but to be honest, he didn't turn it up that night.
Yeah. Wow. Dang, I thought that was it. And then he wants to go running. Well, and then that puts you into your championship year. So him probably pulling you out to go run that day puts you in the right mindset.
Definitely. I mean, he was somebody to watch, man.
Sure.
He preached.
Now to the MotoGP championship trophies, is there a copy of that goes home with the winner? You guys got one of those still sitting around?
Yeah, he's got it somewhere. So yeah, he got to bring it home. So
his name's on the top of that monster. That's cool. That's super cool.
Maybe not the big one that, I don't know. He's got a championship trophy. I do know that.
Yeah, right on. And in racing, everyone hits the deck. And some people dodge the big one that everybody calls it. And you've been involved in some pretty gnarly and spectacular crashes. Is there one that is the worst, or is there one that sticks out in your mind? I know that Moto America's got one of you doing a cart wheel at about 100 miles an hour.
When was it? Barber, I think, and 2006, I believe.
Before your championship.
Yeah, I had somebody run into the back of me at Barber after the little back straightaway going into that fast left. Somebody ran into the back of me, and I broke my back and pelvis and lost my.
Oh no! Back?
Yeah, I broke my back, pelvis, and I lost my pinky. So that one sticks out the most because that was the biggest injury that I've had. And I was that was supposed to be the year I was going to win the championship. I've kind of been runner up, and I won the first 2 races and, I was having a good year. No, I'm wrong. That was the year after I won the championship.
So 08?
Yeah. Because the year before my championship, I broke my ankle, my tib and fib in 06 when I won the first 2 races.
Yeah, and then you had to sit out that rest of that year.
I had to set out 2 races because I broke my tib and fib. So 07, I won the title. The next year at 08, at Barber and Superbike practice, somebody ran into the back of me. And I, broke my back and pelvis and just lost my pinky. That was
the year that you were done for the year.
Yeah. Well, I was out for 3 months. I was never out for the
whole season.
I had to miss some time for sure. But, and it's a big injury. I remember waking up in the medical room or whatever you call it at the track and looking up and seeing my mom and, a girl I was dating at the time. And I could just tell in their eyes, like, oh,
we're going back to the house.
Yeah, we're going somewhere besides here.
So you ever miss your pinky, man? You ever find a weakness?
No, I don't, because I would rather have that than some shoulder that bothers me every day when I wake up.
The rest of your life, yeah. Or an ankle.
Every day, and they're just like, right now, I don't have that yet. So, that doesn't mean I won't. I do have one shoulder that's a little bit sore.
Yeah.
Oh, it don't really bother me. So.
Didn't know if there was, that time you're picking your nose where you just needed that one.
No. Sometimes, you know how you roll a window down on a truck or something, you push the button?
Yeah. Can you still get it with that, though? Oh, no.
Because one time I remember doing it, I'm like, damn, this window's broke. And I was like, oh. When they give you change at a gas station, how you go and you it just doesn't close off.
It falls through. Or M&Ms. I bet you M&Ms are a bad thing in left hand.
Skittles, stuff like that.
Well, good sport. I tease you about that one. That's a good sport answer. Thanks, man. What is next? You rode for some pretty iconic teams out there. Yoshimura Suzuki is arguably the best squad of the last 20 years. Kawasaki holds a special place in your heart, I'm sure. Can you talk about what it was like racing for Michael Jordan? You know, for a couple of years, Michael Jordan Suzuki was the coolest thing in the pit. You know, and I remember walking around and Michael Jordan's straight off of a basketball card and into the paddock. You know, it's like, what the hell is going on? What was that like?
It was cool. I mean, it was definitely an experience, and he was he worked really hard on trying to make it not about him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Trying not to take the focus off the team, what the team is doing, but also be hands-on and supportive. So it was fun for sure, but he likes to win, so he wanted to do good. But when he did come around, like I said, he tried to be as normal as you possibly can for Michael Jordan. I mean, I don't know if that's even possible for
GOAT.
Yeah,
Arguably the GOAT.
Yeah, not much arguing.
Yeah, I mean,
it opened up other opportunities. Like Gatorade was a sponsor, and brought a lot of different eyes to the sport. So I think it was huge into the sport. And I think if possibly Moto America was around then, I think they would have worked hard enough to probably try to keep him around a lot harder than who was running it at the time. Doesn't mean he would still be there.
Yeah.
But I think they would have worked harder to see the value of him being part of the sport.
You're talking like a team owner now, Roger.
Yeah. Once you get thinking changes.
you see him, and I mean, I think he was at where's the track you can stay right on the track? They got like little condos right there. I think he was there this year.
Well, Brainerd had those.
Brainerd? Maybe it was Barber. Can you sleep on the track, right on the track in a condo at Barber?
No.
Haven't been there. But I heard he was at one of the races.
Virginia.
VIR. Yeah. And I mean, I remember spotting him. He actively rode a motorbike too.
Yeah, he did a lap a couple times. So, like I said, I think if Moto America was involved back then, they would have, as much as they can, right? Yeah. I mean, let him. If he wanted to ride every day at lunch break for a couple laps, a guy like him should be able to, because it's about value the sport. You got to let guys like that who are going to take the sport to the next level. Think about how many people came to a race just hoping to see Michael Jordan.
Sure.
And okay, they don't see Michael Jordan, but they're like become fans of
the sport.
Talked about in the beginning, God, you used to couldn't wait to go to Mid-Ohio, and then you went there once, and it was like, this is it. This is awesome. And then you start coming.
Yep,
so
he
was around. I think, like I said, I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think they would have worked harder to keep him around.
Yeah. Well, Valentino dropped that he might be. He's racing cars, and he is mentioned that he might be racing IMSA. IMSA is it's a International Motorsports Association, and it's doctors and dentists and lawyers that are building race teams, going out and racing them. I can't imagine what Mid-Ohio is going to be like if Valentino races there. I mean, it's going to be nuts. We'll have Italians watching a national race circuit. Like guys are flying in all the Euros, and you can spot the Euros because of the pants and the backed up shirt size do a little bit more of a small version. But yeah, I couldn't imagine what it's going to be. I couldn't imagine Mid-Ohio with Valentino Rossi there.
Yeah, it would be great. I mean, like I said, it's another person that would just, whatever sport it is, he's going to bring eyeballs.
Yeah, sure. And then Mid-Ohio is going to be like NASCAR who? So IMSA will be a good weekend. Let's see here. We all know that Nicky was the Kentucky Kid and Tommy was Tommy Gunn. And I think I looked back in the picture book that you guys got, and Tommy was actually called the Flying Flea or Mr. Dirt. I can't remember who it was.
Nicky was called Mr. Dirt.
Yeah.
Tommy was the Flying Flea, and by the time I got there, they were out of. This is like little, you know, like.
Oh yeah.
He was Mr. Dirt because he crashed all the time.
It wasn't because he was good on the dirt.
Yeah, I think this was whenever they were little. You know,
Yeah.
day one.
What are your like? I mean,
because he was so small, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Right on.
I don't know. It was way before my time.
I got you. Well, there's my homework popping up. All my homework.
There you go.
Getting into the dusty wrinkles in your brain. So they didn't give you a nickname. I know that Yosh made your blue dog back there, but nothing ever stuck.
No, they used to call me the country boy because at the time I was like the only person that like fished like that. That was like, you know, different stuff. So for the longest time I had country boy all over my stuff, and always had the blue dog. From 04 till the end of my career. Every helmet had a blue dog.
Wow.
And the blue represents Kentucky because the bluegrass. So the dog changed throughout my career.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would have like a piece of straw hanging out of his mouth. Sometimes it'd have a gun. One of them looked like it was going into the army. The dog would always change, but besides it was always blue.
Who was that did that? Was that the team?
Troy Lee.
Troy Lee did that for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We were at Indianapolis with some buddies at the Indy show, and we were talking about what we're gonna do with the helmet, and you know, it was kind of late, and it turned out into a basset hound into the blue. I mean, it just took off.
Well, that's cool, man. I mean, Troy Lee is your personal cartoonist. That's a cool thing to have. Is there anything that your brothers called you? I know that, you know, when I get around guys that I consider my brothers, we always got that weird little nickname that nobody knows about.
Yeah, my brothers and like some other people. I mean, even some guys on my team would call me Ralphie. When me and my brothers, I don't know, like 20 years ago, we went to Volcom. And some dude there, they gave us a shopping cart and said, "Here, y'all go through. This is the headquarters at Volcom."
Yeah.
You know, the clothing brand. Well, the dude there just kept calling me Ralphie. And that was showing us around, and he kept telling me how he was like my biggest fan, how much he loved me.
In the Christmas story?
And he was just calling me Ralphie the whole time, and I just never corrected him all day. And so ever since then, that's what my brothers called me. Ralphie. It was like, you know, like Ralphie this, Ralphie that, Ralph. I mean, just nonstop calling me Ralphie. Whatever,
man. Free clothes, right?
It's more of that, you know.
That's good. Yeah, you can call me whatever you want, just as long as you're giving me free stuff, right? When I'm riding for style and pushing hard, you know, while obeying all my local traffic laws on my favorite windy road, I'll kind of talk to myself about, you know, damn, I did good in that corner. Oh, blew that corner, wrong gear there. You know, on roads that I know. Is that something you ever caught yourself doing in a helmet, like yelling at yourself or damn good job?
No, I mean, I might tell myself, like, relax, breathe. You know, one big thing for me, I always found every track was breathing spots. Mm-hmm. So every lap at that spot, I would breathe. Especially every straightaway or every short straightaway. Like, it was just something I practiced and finally got pretty good at. Because sometimes when you get in a race, you forget to breathe. Sure. And then you know, you got arm pump and it's hard to get your breath after you've let it get too far. So the biggest thing for me was always try to find breathing spots, or if I was starting to make a lot of mistakes, calm down, or if I was struggling to hang on to the group, I'd be like, don't give up. Don't, hang in there, hang in there. They're coming back to you. And, stuff like that, but not every corner,
Sure.
Stuff like that. I think everybody gives themselves a little, relax, breathe, get it together if you're making a lot of mistakes.
Sure. In the bicycle world, a lot of people can't tell, but there is a cyclist in this husky physique. But like I always tell myself to make whoever's in front of me bigger, make them bigger, make them bigger. Further away, they're smaller, and if I can make them bigger, that means I'm gaining them. So.
I think it's just just like cycling when you're about to lose the group, and you're just like, don't give up, because once you give up,
get there, it's going to be easier.
It's game over if you give up. And it was the same thing, in racing. You just gotta, be your biggest cheerleader sometimes.
Yeah, my wife's not out there yelling at me in the car. Right on. Colin Edwards said that he got sleepy or trance-like before a race, and Valentino just did all kinds of crazy stuff, picked wedgies and pulled on foot pegs and crouched next to the bike on the grid. Was there anything weird that you did in a pre-race ritual?
No, not really. I like to, I would say before an hour before every session, I kind of like to not be outside, kind of be in the lounge and just kind of locked in on the job. And that was about it, really. I didn't like to rush, so I was always there pretty early. And a lot of times I like to look at a track map, especially very first practice. I would always look at the track map because I knew what gear I was in. So I'll just do a couple mental laps, just kind of lock in. And that was probably the biggest thing. Of course, I went to the phase where I had a lucky pair of underwear and like I had to have these socks, but I mean, it didn't really matter really. My dad was superstitious, so he kind of rubbed off on me a little bit for a while, and then I kind of got over that.
Sure. Was there like a song that you listened to? Is it like, was there your get hype song? I think Apple Music called it your power song. Do you have a power song?
No, but sometimes I like to listen to music just to try to get out of my own head.
Sure.
So,
and I remember, I'm just a goon when I'm at the track, man. Everybody looks at me like I'm a circus on legs. So when it comes down to it, I've come up to you guys post race or even pre race sometimes when you're focused, and racers that are in the zone almost look through people at that point when they're locked in. So I can understand.
Yeah, I just like to kind of get just kind of locked in. You don't have to be. For me, I kind of found that not too much, not too little. Sure. As you race for the longest time, you kind of find out what works for you and stay consistent. And for me, it just seems like, you don't get a lot of time on the track. So you don't, especially on a race weekend, you want to
make it count.
First 15 minutes of the session trying to get my mind up to speed and, what were we working on? What changed? You know what I mean? I wanted to kind of be ready to go.
As soon as Visor goes down, it's game time. I hear you. Next question is: everybody seen the shots of the shots painted across the Hayden garage and seeing all those retired race bikes lined up? Do you have one that's your favorite out there? Is one of your bikes hanging out in the garage?
Yeah, the 07 Supersport bike's there. So that's one of my favorites. And then also there is it's called a Rotax. It's a flat track bike, but it's a framer, and it's in there, and it's one of my favorites too, because all three of us used it.
Oh, right
It's
on.
some, and won amateur titles on it and stuff like that. So I think that's really, it's cool. It brings, when you see it, you kind of brings back those memories,
Sure, sure. And
And
Valentino, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tommy has a bike, and Nikki has a his Repsol bike, and then last year we bought one of his old Ducati MotoGP bikes, and it's in the house. We gave it to my mom for Mother's Day, so some cool stuff.
Now, do you own the bikes that are there? Because I know a lot of like Valentino, I guess, is going heads up with Honda right now because he wants one of his 500 era championship bikes, and Honda's basically telling him no. Do you guys own those?
Yeah, well, I own my bike anyways. Kawasaki had it in my contract. If I won a championship, I got a bike.
Cool.
So, and a lot of the other ones that we have are the same. They're not like loaners or you got to give it back. So no, we actually own those.
You ever just go out there and like fire it up? Just,
You know what? That Ducati we bought of Nicky's, his old MotoGP Ducati, it'll fire up. It came with like 15 gallons of duct fuel, bunch of oil. But you got to like watch this 10-minute video of like how to start it up though. So no, it's never started. But if you wanted it to, it would run.
now I know Cam and Co has a copy of Valentino and Nicky's, but
Yeah.
basically Ducati said we're going to make them look like them, but they weren't those race bikes. They were like test bikes or something like that.
Yeah, they probably have to like. I'm sure my championship bike, they probably put an engine that had the most miles on it, or something like that. Probably normal, but for the most part, his Ducati bike will fire up and run.
Right. That's cool. Who takes care of those? You guys have to call Ducati and be like, "Hey, send a guy out to fire this up." You guys do it yourself?
No, we don't. It just sits.
Right. I hear
We
you.
only have a year now, anyways, and yeah, no, we just kind of try to keep it clean is all.
Yeah, just make sure that if you want to make the neighbors deaf, you fire that one up. You'll make the neighbors mad, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't have two neighbors, so we should be all right.
Scare all the livestock.
Yeah.
Serious one. Most people on earth have dealt with loss in one form or another in their life. And I think we both can testify to that. But I also know that racers are eternal optimists, man. You refuse to see the negative, and there's always a lesson in loss. Is there a lesson or characteristic that you've developed since you lost Nick?
Well, I think you see all these sayings all the time, like tomorrow's never promised. Hug your loved ones. You never know you're going to see them again. Stuff like that. It's like, it's never going to happen to me. That's for other people. And then it happens. You just kind of realize life really is kind of short. I don't really have problems with my family members, but if I did, I wouldn't want to like leave for a week and us be at odds or something. Luckily I haven't had to go through that, but I would.
Sure.
And, if that was the case. So I guess the biggest thing is just that, nothing that really is promised. You never expect that it's going to happen to you. And, like if you could go back and you knew like the last time Nicky went to Italy, this was going to be the last time we seen him, we probably would have made it a little bit bigger deal than when he was leaving. It was like a little fist bump, like normal. I'd see you in a couple of weeks, good luck. I think, I don't know. You realize when you live it that life is short. You really do never know what tomorrow holds. So I think that's been the biggest thing for me is, kind of don't worry so much about the small stuff because, you only get one life, man. You don't know when it's over. So, you got to make the best of it. Like same way about, not winning the Superbike title, it kind of bugs me, but what am I gonna be miserable for the rest of my life because I didn't accomplish just that one thing? I mean, it's gonna bug me forever, but move on, man. Life's short. Enjoy it while you're here.
Yeah, you're a healthy dude with a beautiful family. Yeah, I mean that was something for me. It was always make sure that everybody in the house knows you love them before you leave. So, and
Yeah,
from the 30,000-foot view of what your family lets us see of your family, it's it's you guys got nothing but love. I mean,
yeah, for
they,
sure.
oh, well, I guess we could boil it down into the way you spend time with your family. It's like get that extra scoop of ice cream or take
Yeah,
that time with the kids. So that's that was the most serious question I had, man. But it's just
all
sometimes
right.
some people need to take a peek into somebody they admire, somebody they look up to, and how they handle shit like that.
Yeah, no worries.
So you've been a Moto America commentator for the past few years. How'd that come about?
Well, actually, what year was it? In 2019, I guess. Michael Hill couldn't make it over for Road America because of we were going through the pandemic then, so he couldn't make it over. And I did dabbled in it a little bit the year before, a couple sessions here and there, and just at a couple races I was at, and they needed somebody to come in for Road America that race, first race of the year, I believe it was, or second race, maybe first race of the year because they ain't started yet because of the coronavirus. And I went there and it went really well. They had a lot of, I mean, the biggest thing is feedback online, like they had a lot of positive feedback, and Moto America wants to make the series better. They look at that stuff and they want to, really please the audience. And I'm not saying that was flooded with great comments, but a lot of people were enjoying seeing it inside of riders, and I did pretty good at it. And the biggest thing for them too, I think, was I took it serious. Like I did the homework that I thought I needed to do. I asked a lot of questions, and I didn't just show up to collect the check and leave. Like I went there and I tried to do a good job. I tried to mistakes I made or things I could do better. I tried to like look at myself and like really get better, and just kind of got better at it. And so I think that's where it came about, was just because Michael Hill couldn't make it over, and they needed somebody and gave me a call, and it just kind of went well. And and like I said, I think the biggest thing was the producers and everybody could see that I took it serious. I was trying to do a good job, because you represent the sport, right? You're essentially working for the teams. You want, if a sponsor hears it, you want them to think that, man, these guys know what they're talking about. I want to get behind, So, even though you're announcing, you're representing the sport, and you're trying to want sponsors to want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. You always wonder, is Greg White really that nice? I mean, he's a great dude. And every time you talk to him like you saw him at a barbecue 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if he knows me from Adam, but he's a great dude.
Yeah, he is. And it's one of the things too that's kind of helped me is a lot of the other people have helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Greg has sent me stuff before, Hannah, Robbie, Michael, all the guys have, Jamie, they've all kind of helped me here and there. And, so it's kind of been, it's been nice. And I understand I still got a ways to go, but still you just gotta, it's kind of like racing before. Like when I first started, I was scared to death to make a mistake. So I just sat there and like didn't talk. And then I was like, man, how are you ever going to get better if you don't make a mistake? It's just like riding. I wasn't scared of crashing. If I crashed, I figured out what I did wrong and fixed it. If I say something on the air that I was wrong about, make a mistake, well, correct it so it doesn't happen again, and move forward. You can't just sit there and be silent, afraid that you're always going to, or afraid you're going to make a mistake.
Sure. Was Moto America's phone call, like, hey, you want to get in the booth? Was that out of left field, or was that something you had planned?
No, I was out in left field because it was a week before the season started. So, they didn't know. And then like it was like race to race because they never knew if Michael was going to make it over because you never knew if he could. So sometimes before a race, I didn't know till 5 days before.
Yeah.
They
I
told
know
me,
I teased you.
but and then it just went well. And then this year they had all three of us, which I think they need because they get the pit lane and
Yeah.
it's cool. And you get to see a lot of stuff, interviews and if you're a fan of the sport on Friday while you're at work, you definitely got something to help pass the time.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, I know I teased you and I teased Moto A a couple of times throughout the year, but like I don't know motorbike racing without a Hayden in it, And I mean, I was
Yeah.
I hit you up and I'm like, you still doing this? And you're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, damn it if I have anything to do with it.
Yeah. So that was the thing, like that first year they already had Michael under contract, so they couldn't, it was kind of race by race. And then, this past season in 21, I knew I was going to be at every race. So, but also the Moto America Live Plus, I think it took a huge step this year.
Mm-hmm.
And everything, quality, audio, things that we did better. But it's a learning, it's new. I think it's just going to keep getting better. And I'm not saying that just because, I'm on there, but I know how hard Moto America is trying to push this Live Plus stuff and really look at areas where they can improve. And I think next year is going to be even better again.
Well, if you got that much exposure, you need that many more voices. So
yeah.
Well, can we talk about next year? Are you allowed to talk about the 2022 contract yet? You gonna be up there?
Well, I haven't talked to them about it, but I think we both assume that we're going to be back. They said it at the end of the year. Hey, hopefully you're back next year. I said, hopefully I am back. So, we don't have a contract yet, but I think we can have like a mutual
agreement.
Yeah, we're going to work on it again. And if not, I'm thankful for, the time they gave me, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be back, but they got so much other stuff to figure out before, we figure out who the
talking heads they're going to have.
Yeah, talking heads they get. I'd say I'm probably 500,000 on the to-do list now. But I'm pretty sure the way it went this year that I'll be back, and like I said, they seem to be happy with me, and so yeah, like I said, I don't know for sure, but if I was a betting man, I would bet I'd be back.
Well, as official spokesman for the fan base of Moto America, if anybody from Moto A listens to this, you better keep Raj on some paperwork, So.
I assume I'm going to be back, so let's just go with that.
Right on. Well, this went quicker than I thought it would, man. I had 3 pages of questions, and I'm down to the curveballs. So I hit up, a couple of friends on Instagram that watch the series quite a bit, and I asked them, I was like, hey, you guys got any questions for Roger? I tried to keep this as under wraps as possible, just so if we didn't make it happen, I didn't break hearts and make people think that I was just a BS artist. So, but I reached out to a couple of friends, and the one that was most adamantly, he wanted to make sure I got this asked. His Instagram shows you spending your free time fishing, right? And he notices that you mainly fish for bass. Is that right?
It is. Sometimes catfish, but mainly bass because I have a really good spot that's only 3 miles from home. That's a little 7-acre, patch of water that's the family owns. So there's a lot of bass there, and it's convenient. Like I said, it's 3 miles from home. I got my 17-foot boat I just got. Fits in there perfect. Get the little foot stroller motor on the front. And Sometimes I jug catfish. There's some big cats in there. I've caught 30-pound catfish in there before. And sometimes, I'll throw a jug out at night or a couple jugs and come get it in the morning. This year I caught like a 21-pound catfish, a 14-pounder, and a 12-pounder, but mainly bass.
You just put them all back unless it's the monster.
Put them back.
Gotcha.
And even if it's a monster, I put it back because last year I caught one that was 5 pounds, 6 ounces. I threw it back, but I called this place, gave them the weight and the measurements, sent them a picture, and they gave me a replica.
Ah, cool.
You don't have to kill the fish.
Yeah.
You just take that measurement, get a picture, get the weight, booyah. I hope they did, man.
Make it look the same. You gotta get that dude a name.
That's right.
Talk to I caught Stedman again today or something like that. Right. The public wants to know what lure you use to catch those big boys.
Well, toward the end of the year, I wanted to use it. I never caught one with the frog before. So I was like, God, I don't know why. You know how it is when you get some weird like goal or whatever. You see all these videos online, these people catch them with frogs. So toward the end of the year, I caught a couple with the frog. So I was stoked on that because I tried before, but I never really was patient with it long enough to try it all day. Now I've gotten so big into fishing, I got 4 or 5 poles all rigged up with something different. So, I'm casting everything at it while I'm in one spot. And
you got them all out in the water at the same time?
No, just reel one in, throw the other. And my universal, I guess, is the black worm, using a worm. But I started dabbling also into whopper ploppers, like little top water stuff. So I'd say whopper plopper, the worm, and I'm starting to do with frogs and some other stuff. Man, you'd be surprised. Like I watch a lot of YouTube videos and like, how you put the worm on, and there's people who follow me on Instagram that see like big fishermen, not big, but you can tell that they know what they're doing. Every picture is a big bass. I'll slide right up in their DMs, I'm like, hey, people ain't afraid to slide in mine, like, now, what I mean? Like now I'm going to be that guy and I'll be like,
teach me.
This time of year, what do I use? If the water looks like this, if it's midday and trying to figure it out.
I've watched a couple where dudes are 30 feet away casting into like a Yeti cup or something, man. I'm like, get out of here. Or skipping them.
Yeah. I'm not that good.
You wear like a Tennessee Volunteers hat when you do that? Just get your little Bill dance on?
Oh, I hate to say they're a Bears hat, Monster hat, or Third Chance Auto hat.
Right on. Well, your Bears hat, man, you're struggling this year, right?
Big time. But we'll see.
I grew up in Central Ohio, where you're either a Browns fan or a Cincinnati fan, a Bengals fan. So, for a long time in my life, nobody in Ohio was happy watching pro football. So,
Bengals are way, man.
Yeah, I guess that Burrow kid, he's an Ohio boy too. So, I guess that's what everybody hangs their hat on, is we can build good quarterbacks here. So, I think this is the last one. Yeah, last one here. Coming from the fans was you got to have a favorite track. You got to have a favorite turn, least favorite track. So we'll start with, what's your favorite track out there?
I would say Barber, because toward the end of my career, it was one where I could show up and be pretty fast. Like, from 16, 17, 18, 19, all the way through. I went there and I was fast, and when I say fast, I mean without less headaches, not like digging deep every single night, really, having to go through a lot of stuff. I could be pretty fast and right out of the gate. Least favorite is by far Infineon. By far. Sears Point, Infineon.
Yeah, this had like 8 names, I think.
Yeah, but it's not the layout that I don't like. It's because I'm terrible. I'm just slow. Like I can't figure it. I'm just god awful there. I'm a couple seconds off the pace every time we ever went there, no matter what we were there for. I was just slow. So therefore that one's my least favorite.
Sure.
And favorite turn, that's a good one. I don't know if I have just one turn that's, I do like a lot of the corners that got that are banked, that got camber, because you can get in there so much deeper. Like you talk about like going back to Barber, that back section where it drops down and back up, because it slows you down, so you can get in there a lot faster than you think. So it's definitely one of my, any corner's got some bank to it. I love it. Like, Barber's got a couple of them. They got the museum corner, which is a lot of fun. And there's a lot of, one thing I will say that I tried to do through my career was I tried not to hate a track, or a corner, or obviously Infineon I stunk, but I always thought like, man, I'm already gonna be in my head thinking, man, I stink at this track, or I hate this place, I can't. So even if I really didn't like a track, I would always try to talk myself into
find the good things.
Yeah.
Right on. So we can boil your favorite turn down into that section at Barber.
Yeah.
Right on. I understand. Yeah, mine is always, and I'm extremely partial again. I've only been to a handful of Moto A tracks, but watching, I remember watching Miguel, Scott, and somebody else in Miguel's final years on Honda, racing the Hondas with him. But I remember watching Miguel skip through the gravel trap at bottom of the S turns right before you go under the Honda bridge at Mid-Ohio. He skipped that bike perfectly, hit the tire barrier, stood up, the bike didn't stop. He's on it and out of the gravel trap before the thing dies.
I think I seen also like really fast corners. Like,
did you ever race the Daytona 200?
Nope. I raced Daytona many times, but when I moved to Superbike, the 200 went to 600. Like fast corners, like Salt Lake City has like, I think it's turn 4. It's a really fast. If you do it right, you can keep it wide open on the Superbike, and I love that stuff.
Wide open on a Superbike through a corner.
Yeah.
No way. You're a different breed, man. You are a different breed. Well, I mean, that's it for me, brother. I think I'm tapped out.
All right.
Well, I appreciate your time, and this has been great. Hopefully I can make this a once a month thing. I think I got some irons in the fire, but hopefully we can make this like a constant thing, So, and you were episode 1 if I turned it into like a Joe Rogan style moto dynasty.
There you go. There you go.
All right, Raj. Well, I appreciate your time, brother.
No problem, man. Have a good day.
You too, buddy. Later.